everybody, this is Patty with the Leather Lady. Here we go with another session of do's, don'ts, yes, no's, help you save money. That's the whole thing. We're talking about some do's and don'ts today. We're also talking about how to save you some money with little tricks. Now, this is my way of doing it. Artisans use all different kinds. People say, no, don't do that. And then some of them will say, yeah, go ahead and do that. You know, so it all just depends on how you've been taught, trained, all that kind of stuff, because the majority of artisans in leather have taught themselves. Now, I had two huge mentors that were into saddlery, and one actually made saddles for the Disney movies, Westerns, and stuff like that. And so I learned a ton from him. You know, bless his heart, rest in peace, Dave. So what first we're going to talk about is I keep getting comments, and I enjoy that I get these negative comments because that means they're watching my videos. And what is that? You're going to have to wait till the end of the video. So what we're going to be talking about is a couple do's and don'ts. Okay, the first thing I'm going to say to you guys, don't be afraid to make mistakes. Okay, don't be afraid to make mistakes. Whatever you do, there is no right and wrong. It's your way, and there are ways that you can learn to be more efficient. We'll learn ways to save more money, which I'm going to be showing you today. But also, too, you're going to learn each time you get a tool in your hand, especially it's new, or you're a new technique or a new skill. So don't be afraid. Okay, don't be afraid. Number one was don't be afraid. Okay, I'm going to show you the thing about the comments on the end. I'm excited about it. Okay, so one of the first things I'm going to talk to you about is stitching. Okay, the way to save some money in stitching and time, actually. So there's things that you do with stitching. Okay, so you can actually go out and buy yourself a pony. Okay, not a little pony like a horse pony. This is a stitching pony. Okay, so there's so many kinds to make. Okay, I'm going to tell you, I would say if you're a beginner, don't get one that you have to sit on. It's really uncomfortable. And so this one here is one from, I believe, Tandy, I think. Yeah, it is from Tandy. But you can see how this one here, let's see if I can get the light right. I don't know if I can, but you have to sit on this one, or you have to put some weight there. You can get these where this part is actually going to adhere to an edge, okay? And then you can actually move it around. So there's a couple of different kinds. I preferably don't like this kind. I do sell these on my website, but if you're going to be sitting on something and you're going to be facing the stitching pony itself, okay? So you'll see the leather here to hold and protect anything that you're working on. Great piece if you want to purchase one. They even have them where they're actually a chair. It's the old, I had one 100 years old and sadly lost it in a storage thing many years ago when I was really poor and broke. And now I'm just poor and broke. Anyway, so it is like a little chair, and at the end, and then it has a pedal on it so that you can open and close it and stitch that way. Now, if you're on an extreme budget, and I'm going to get a lot of comments on this one, so if you see this and you start chuckling, laughing, or you want to make a comment about it, please make a comment about it below. But it actually works, okay? So what I would do, if you don't really have a lot of money, because they're extremely cheap, or go to a garage sale, is get your... It's very simple, it's very cheap. Go to Harbor Freight, you can pick up these really, really cheap. I do not sell these ones on my website, only for the fact they're too heavy and I'm not gonna ship it to you. Okay, so this is something that you can also too move around. See on this one here, I might have said it, but you can, when you get it bolted in, you can move it around. You can, let's see. You can move it around because sometimes you need to move something to stitch and move around. So the other ones that you would clamp to the edge, they have that ball where you can turn it and move it. But I think I paid $10, maybe $12, maybe $15 for this, rather than going and spending a lot of money for it. Okay. Now you can laugh and make a joke about it all you want. Go ahead and make it in the comments below. Okay. So anyway, so here's the other thing. That's just another way to save money. Okay, here's the other don't, okay, don't number 2. If you see this here, I'm going to move this a little bit closer so that you can actually see my threads here. Okay, so if we're going to stitch something, you see I've got one thread here, and then this is just dangling down here. Oops, excuse me. Don't use just one thread. 2 reasons why. It is, you can do it, but the problem is, 1, it's going to take you a lot longer. A lot longer to do it this way. Then you're going to have to go back and over. But the other thing too is this can actually begin to make your second string slide. So now you've got one way up here and one way down here. So not really a good way to stitch, okay? What you want to stitch is stitch with 2 threads and 1 thread, 2 needles. Okay, so you have 2 needles, and you're going to cross over and make it much easier, much more efficient. This is just a sample for this video, and you're going to go ahead and bring it through. Now, here's the other thing too. If you're using too big of needles, that's not a do or don't, doesn't matter. You can pull it through with some needle nose pliers. Get them at the Dollar Tree. You don't need them for anything fancy, right? So see how this is taking me so much longer to do because I'm going to have to go back and forth that way. And I've just got too big of a needle for these holes here. This is just for demonstration. Oops. Okay. So not 1 thread, but 2 with 2 needles and doing it through. Okay. Save yourself some money. Get yourself a mice. That will help with that. All right. That was number 2. I think number 2 or 3 or 4. I don't know. I'm not counting. All right. So the next thing we're going to talk about is glue. Now remember, the big thing that I shouldn't have done, that a teacher should never do, is still coming up at the end. So keep watching. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. So what you're going to be seeing me do here is we're going to talk about glue. Now, saddlery, you want to use heavy glues. There's a lot of different glues out there. I use a glue that actually shoemakers use because when you're walking on shoes, you're pulling on them all the time, like right that. But saddle makers have used this a lot. So this is just an EcoFlow. It's an older glue, as you can tell. I don't use it, but it is like a white Elmer's glue. All right, so you would put it on. And because this is like a white tacky glue, whatever, you would put it on, and then this would be okay for lighter projects. If you're going to do really, really thin leather, you're going to put maybe a pigskin backing on a belt or something like that. You still could do that, but you want to make sure that you don't leave it like this. You want to just thin it out and smooth it. Use anything. You can use an old butter knife. You can use anything. And then some people take and they fold it over. Okay. And then they begin to clip it. Now there's some people that are going to say, no, don't clip it. That is your flipping choice if you want to clip it. So, but the thing is that with this, you're going to make little marks in it, okay, with your clips. So over time, as it dries, then you're going to end up with little marks. The way to eliminate that is to get yourself some of your scrap leather, put a piece there, and then put the clip on. Okay, I do not like this way. I will tell you 100% as working with saddles and horse tack, no. The only time I use clips is when you see that I am trying to put on a fleece of a saddle and I need to go around the saddle to hold it all down because where the holes are on the edge of a saddle, I can't put the glue because then I've got problems threading. So I only use clips where I absolutely have to, and then I use this little piece of process. Now, there's different sizes. Yeah, these are school clips. You can use school clips. Saving money again. You got big ones. you got little ones. Then you got the big car clips or the big, find them at Home Depot, find them at Lowe's, find them at Harbor Freight. Harbor Freight's probably cheaper. But again, this is like for my big saddles, my heavy skirting, 10, 12 ounce skirting that I need to do that. But every single time, no matter what I do with a clip, I always make sure I protect the leather or the project that I'm working on with some scraps. And you'll see some of them, they do get, depending on what I'm working on, they get bad. Then I throw them away and put another scrap. Save yourself some money. Another way to use your scraps, all right? So here's the proper way to glue in my book, all right? So we got this piece of leather. Here's what I use, people. If you want to know what Patty the leather lady uses, I use barge. Whoops, where is it? Barge is something that is sort of like, do you remember back in the day, the rubber cement glue, how it really stinks and how it is that way? That's sort of like what barge is. And if you get any on the lid, it glues the lid shut too. Anyway, this is the new one. Okay, so I would not do this on my pounding board. You can get glue off. Alcohol is your friend, and I don't mean but the regular alcohol is your friend, all right? But I would do it on something. This has plastic that I don't care. It protects my table and all that kind of stuff. So, oh, that over there. So what you're going to do with glue, the do's of glue is to put it on. Now, you're going to see this, how it goes like this. Just rub it all off. You can also use a smaller one, but this is just for demonstration purposes. If you want to make your comment now, you can. What is she doing? Okay, so what we're going to do is, see how pretty and glossy that is? It's still wet. It's still wet, and so we are not going to put it and fold it and say we want to fold this. We're not going to fold it immediately. Why, Patty? Why are we not going to fold it? The reason why we're not going to fold it is we want it to dry. Are you kidding me? Yes. I want you to put in the comments below, have you ever used barge, and have you ever used it and let it dry and then fold it and put the pieces together? Or did you leave it wet and do that? Okay, here's the reason why we don't do that. Okay, if you put them together, then, and they're still wet, then you have to clip it. We don't want to clip if we don't have to. Okay, that's not the proper way to do it. But what we do want to do is we want to make sure that when we put them together, they stick and do not move. Okay, that's the whole thing. So what I do is I wait at least 5 minutes, come back and see. So again, I'm going to repeat that. 5 minutes, maybe 10, come back, it should be dry, and then I'm going to fold it. So in the comments below, how many minutes do you have to wait? Write it in. Okay, so we're going to put this aside, and then I'm going to go to the part where I have all these comments and don't do this, but I still think it's funny that they're negative, and I'm glad they're watching. All right, so let me grab and some leather. And okay, so this is what I did in this video. I had to hurry. I was doing a grommet video. I grabbed my punch. I grabbed a piece of leather to make a hole for the grommets. And then instead of using what you should be using is a cutting board or something to punch on, I grabbed my little anvil. My little anvil. And you can see some holes and stuff there. I have so many tools, I throw a lot of them away just because they're so old and they probably are not going to sharpen anyway. But what I did was I punched it on a piece of steel. So this is a steel. If you don't have one, you should have one. They are remarkably usable for so many things. And if you really need some solidness underneath a pounding or something of that nature, maybe this table bounces a lot. So sometimes I'll even take it and I'll put the board on top and I'll pound on that. Where can you get a steel? Go to your local welding shop and say, hey, do you have a scrap of steel? Now this is probably like maybe 1 inch and a little. It was all rusted. He gave it to me. I cleaned it up and it works great. It works awesome. I used to have one that was like this thick, this big, that my mentor gave to me. And again, in my poor days, I lost a storage and all my tools, and I've had to start over. And that's back in my late 20s. I lost all my stuff. So I had to restart. Anyway, so you're going to pound on one of these, right? That's a do. And what you're else going to do is you're going to hopefully have a mallet, okay, or of some type. This one's nice and heavy for this one, but I would not use a hammer. Hammers will damage the top. You'll see mine are, because it's just when I was poor, I didn't have them. And so I just kept sharpening my tools and using a hammer. And you should see my leather mentors that works on Old West saddles. His is all afraid, but yeah. Anyway, so you're going to punch on here and you're just, you're going to make your hole on here. So this is, I don't want to punch too hard because then the video is going to pop all over the place. But you're going to punch your hole here. You are not, I repeat, going to do here. Was it the wrong thing to do as a teacher? Yes, I should know better because I've got probably thousands of people watching that video. However, this has created me to be able to do another video. So do not do that. What that's going to do is if you do that on a thing and it does go through your leather, it will create the ends to buckle under. It'll ruin your ends. Okay. So hopefully that is something that will help you. Do's and don'ts, save some money. Again, we're going to come back because you're like, well, what about that piece? Okay. So it's been about 5 minutes. See how it's sort of dried now? It's not so lustre and pretty. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to fold it. I don't need to fold the whole thing. You might be able to hear it. Okay. And then what you can do is take a little mallet or hammer, flatten it down, and now it's glued. I don't need any clips. Okay. So that hopefully will help you. Just hold off on that. If you need barge, I do ship barge. It's got to be shipped by ground though, just because it is a chemical. But if you need barge, there's a couple of different sizes of barge that I can get you. It should be on my website by the time you see this video. So I hope that was helpful. Like, share, subscribe, please. And don't forget to go to the Leather Lady LLC website and you can see some of the tools for leather craft there. There's horse tack and classes, workshops also. So have a wonderful day and see you in the next video.